If there's one superhero genuinely made better through the power of video games, it's Spider-Man. Universally beloved for high-flying, web-swinging antics, scores of developers have tried their hand at making us feel like Spider-Man himself. At the time of recording, Spidey has starred in or appeared in just shy of 40 video games. Some of these are your all-time classics, like Insomniac's Spider-Man or Beanox's life-defining Spider-Man 2. But a large amount of Spidey's gaming back catalogue has been completely forgotten about. I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and these are the 10 most underrated Spider-Man games. Number 10. Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. If you've seen and enjoyed the superb Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, legit my favorite superhero thing ever, or Spider-Man No Way Home, you know how cool it is when the multiverse gets involved, letting different Spider-Men get the chance to show us what they can do. Way before this was trendy though, the 2010 game Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions introduced the concept of playing as 4 different Spider-Men, each with their own universe and unique abilities. These were The Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Man 2099, and Ultimate Spider-Man. Across the story, you'd rotate through the whole cast. Spider-Man Noir's sections had a cool art direction and relied on using shadows to escape enemies. Spider-Man 2099 was the complete opposite, diving into slick freefall sections and using bullet time to slow things down. Add in a bunch of unlockable costumes and everything about Shattered Dimensions' heart was very much in the right place. Number 9. Spider-Man vs. the Kingpin. Criminally, and despite triggering a wave of comic book style games on the Genesis/Mega Drive, Spider-Man vs. the Kingpin seems to have been forgotten to the sands of time. First released in 1991, this is the first game that really captured the essence of what it is to be Spider-Man, taking great inspiration from the comics and even incorporating an element of Peter Parker's financial struggles, asking you to take pictures of your enemies as you played, just to raise enough money for more web fluid. The game itself is a side-scrolling platformer where Spidey can brawl with enemies, crawl up walls, cling to ceilings, web swing, and come face-to-face with his rogues gallery, including the likes of the Lizard, Electro, Sandman, Hobgoblin, and Doc Ock. If you want even more out of this series, try the incredible Mega CD version from 1993. This enhanced release featured animated cutscenes and some of the best voice acting of all time, especially from Spider-Man.
Well, I didn't want to be late for dinner.
Number 8. Spider-Man Edge of Time. Stuck in the shadows of Shattered Dimensions thanks to only including 2 versions of Spider-Man rather than 4, this still let Edge of Time tell a much better, tighter story, with a cause and effect system meaning the actions of one Spidey affected the next. Gameplay-wise, it's similar to Shattered Dimensions, but OG 616 Spidey gets hyper spider sense, allowing him to move super fast and clobber enemies, while Spider-Man 2099 can create fake simulations of himself to evade and get extra hits in. The star of the show, though, is by far how much fun Beanox had with their time-bending narrative. Not tied to any existing storyline, Edge of Time tells its own effective tale of 2 Spider-Men working together to take down a host of unusual villains, created by the Paradox itself. Anti-Venom has an awesome presence, and you'll fight a unique monster created for the game called Atrocity, made from the DNA of Anti-Venom, Doc Ock, and scientist Walker Sloan. Number 7. Ultimate Spider-Man. A phenomenal game that sadly released in the shadow of many people still swinging around Treyarch's open-world Spider-Man 2 movie tie-in. Those that did give Ultimate Spidey a shot became fans for life. Literally, let it be said, Ultimate Spider-Man is one of the best Spider-Man games ever released. It's long overdue a modern-day release of any kind, and to this day the art style, animation, and ability to play as both Spider-Man and Venom is a unique and incredible package. Add on some fun, comboable web-swinging as found in Spider-Man 2, and it's just stellar. Venom in particular is also so fun to play as. A lumbering, rage-filled symbiote, he can go on rampages around New York, attracting police attention and letting you eat whoever gets in your way to regain health. Number 6. Spider-Man 3. The follow-up to the mighty Spider-Man 2 was a solid playable Spidey adventure with top production value, undone by 2 things. 1, the god-awful movie making fans run for the hills, and 2, a very specific and terrible bomb defusal QuickTime event that dominated any and all coverage. Look past that if you can though, and you'll find a nicely upgraded version of Spider-Man 2. The city is much larger, and there's a fully explorable subway system. Well-placed collectibles encourage you to explore, and Spidey also has the black symbiote suit and a rage meter, giving you a handful of new combat moves to bust out whenever you want. Also, just saying, if Treyarch made the Toby Thrust a QuickTime event, gaming history would be very different. Number 5. Spider-Man Mysterio'S Menace. This take on Spidey has many clear inspirations. Gameplay-wise, it's straight out of the side-scrolling platformer beat-em-up Spideys of yesteryear, but in terms of storyline, it's actually a direct sequel to the Spider-Man PS1 games Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro. More on the latter in a minute. In a world where 3D Spider-Man games were slowly taking over and becoming increasingly popular, Vicarious Visions created a tight 7-stage game that nails the gameplay loop of fun, responsive combat, leading to villains like Rhino, Hammerhead, and even more obscure Marvel pull big wheel for hardcore comic fans too. The whole thing is short, punchy, and super enjoyable, and just knows exactly what it is. Enjoyable being the perfect handheld Spider-Man game.
Number 4. Spider-Man the Movie.
I'm including this for one reason and one reason only: playable Green Goblin. Yes, back when this first dropped and most of us were just using that first level to explore what it felt like to swing around New York on a PlayStation 2, little did we know that if you beat the whole thing on hard, you can play as Green Goblin himself, complete with a unique moveset, abilities, and even his glider. I know it's a Spider-Man games list, but as a feature, it's so completely not talked about. Anyway, for the game itself, Spidey's first movie tie-in was surprisingly solid. Largely following the plot of the movie while having a weirdly robotic swinging animation, you could still pull off some awesome acrobatic combos. It had the voice of Tobey Maguire reprising the Peter Parker role, and villains included Shocker, Vulture, and Scorpion in here too.
Number 3. The Amazing Spider-Man Lethal Foes.
A hidden gem if ever there was one, especially for those in the West, The Amazing Spider-Man Lethal Foes was completely exclusive to Japan. A supremely well-animated side-scroller playing today, the ROM hacker Kibep thankfully put together a fully translated English version, letting many more people experience this awesome action game for themselves. Gameplay-wise, it's like playing as Marvel vs. Capcom's Spidey on his own adventure. Web swinging, wall crawling, chunky brawling, web finishers, and plenty of enemies to smack around, Lethal Foes' beautiful comic book art style has made it age very gracefully.
Number 2. Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro.
Another case of trying to live up to an installment that was just so stupidly good. The follow-up to the Stan Lee narrated Spider-Man on PS1 missed the critical mark, but that didn't stop the rest of us diving in anyway. Expanding on Neversoft's foundations, Vicarious Visions' most welcome addition was letting you explore and fight on the streets of New York, something that would kill you in the original game as Spidey couldn't go too low while swinging. Though it's all primitive AF, you can even pick up a basketball and shoot some hoops. Trust me, it was impressive in 2001. Combat saw nice additions like an aerial web ball attack and using electric or ice webbing on enemies. And the story is a direct continuation of where we left off, going up against Electro, Hammerhead, Sandman, Lizard, Shocker, and more. As a 1-2 package, rather than dropping only a year after that masterful original, it works much better.
And number 1. Spider-Man Web of Shadows.
My personal favorite Spidey for years until Insomniac swooped in, Web of Shadows felt like it got everything right, and then no one cared. To this day, I don't know why, because Web of Shadows pioneered a super cool chained web strike attack move that lets you stay airborne while fighting certain foes, zip between enemies stylishly, or otherwise fold it into your combos. It had the best web swinging since Spider-Man 2, a huge city to explore, fluid animation, and even a one-button toggle to switch back and forth with the symbiote suit. Coolest of all, you could fight bosses and enemies on the ground, in the air, or even on walls, keeping the action flowing and encouraging you to mix every ability together, maybe even switching suits mid-combo for a tendril spinning finisher. The game's story is also incredibly interesting, opening on Spidey absolutely devastated from not being able to save the city, then working back to that point in time. There are branching narrative choices and symbiote variants of Black Cat and Wolverine, the whole game exploring this notion of Spider-Man adopting a more ruthless personality while being warped by the symbiote. And those are our picks for the most underrated Spider-Man games of all time. Let me know your favorites down in the comments below, and please subscribe to the What Culture Gaming podcast. For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com, and I'll catch you soon.